University of Chicago. We're doing a course on Italians in Chicago under their professor, Fada Today.
Today,
not today. Okay. Would you like to say a few words?
About my wonderful students. No, thank you for welcoming us. We are currently doing a class on Italian America in Chicago, and we are very thrilled to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome, and we look forward to hear from Frankie D. And also, as part of the class, we're going to do oral history interviews, so we need interviewees if anyone wants to volunteer. Yeah, thank you so much again.
Yeah, yes. Among our volunteers, I know, and other audience members, there are a number of people who have interesting stories that we would like to be shared, and the students are willing to come out and do some oral histories, and we'd like to add them to our archives at the Casa Italia once they're completed. Today we have one of our star volunteers, Frank DiPiero is a man of many parts. He spent a good deal of his life running a greasy spoon that is of the pattern of Nighthawks. If anybody's seen remembers the painting Nighthawks, well, that's Frankie D's story for a part of his life. Recently, in the last 10 years, he's switched gears and become an Italian Americanist with a lot of flair and with a lot of different parts to him, and he'll explain some of them. But basically, he's the only guy I know who can say, let's have a dinner at a restaurant, and I'd like to have about 50 or 100 people, and I'd like them all to pave their own way, and it'll be in 2 or 3 weeks, okay? And he's the only person who can do that, and 100 people will show up. He's got friends. And I'd like to run him for governor someday, but we're of different parties. But he is something of a politician. Frank is a member of the township board. I can't remember what township it is.
Park.
Norwood Park.
Norwood Park.
Norwood Park.
Norwood Park Township.
And he's also a member of the High School Board of Education.
Ridgewood High School, 234.
Okay. And he is a member of the Casa Italia Board. And most important, he is a volunteer here every Wednesday and on selected Saturdays. And this Saturday, he's in charge of the full program, and he's going to tell you all about his activities in his effort to help save Italian American identity for our people. Without further ado, I introduce Frankie D, or Frankie DiPiero. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Dominic, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Bear with me, I've never done any kind of a slideshow, whatever it is, PowerPoint kind of presentation. I'm going to do my best. I think the best thing to do is to kind of start with my background. So why am I the way I am? Well, born and raised in Chicago, and raised in a very heavy populated Italian area, okay? So like, my world was a section of Chicago called Montclair, and Galewood, and Elmwood Park. Well, back then, wow, I mean, it was like heavy Italian in all three of those touching border neighborhoods, okay? So, you know, the family's all Italian. It's like all the friends of the family are Italian. You know, I even think like everybody we dealt with, you know, like our banker was Italian, our lawyer was Italian, the guy who did our taxes was Italian, my dentist was Italian, my doctor was Italian, like everybody was Italian. So for me, the world was very simple. It was just, you're Italian and you're Catholic. And like, I just thought that was, you know, basically it, which is not a bad thing. It was a very good upbringing, and I was always very proud. It was the type of thing like, you know, you're a little kid watching sports. If somebody was Italian last name, you rooted for them. That's just the way it was, okay? I think it was a real good thing, real good upbringing. Kind of different than some of the presentations and stories I've heard where, you know, they're isolated, and it's not. It was the complete opposite. It was just, everybody it was great, it was all good. Now, the major thing, at 19, I take that first trip to Italy. So at 19, I'm in college, and Rosary College, which now it's called Dominican, had a study abroad program in the summer in Florence, 5 weeks. And I finagled that to a 2-month trip. And I was very fortunate because, you know, my parents allowed me to go. You know, they bankrolled it. I was more fortunate because my good dear friend from childhood, who was my age, and at that time at 19, he'd probably been to Italy 15 times, and it was as if he was a native. I mean, he spoke perfect. He knew Italy. He had a girlfriend in Rome. He kind of introduced me, you know what I mean? He kind of, like, to Italy. He took me, and he stayed with me in the beginning, then I went to the program, then I stayed with him after. So this was life-changing. This was like, wow, you know? And we're gonna get back into that, okay? So let's now start. The year is 2013. And I started doing, I don't know, interviews. I didn't even know that word podcast. I had no clue. I was doing like this radio show at the high school by me, and like 4 or 5 episodes in, somebody tells me, you know, you got a podcast there. And I, honest to God, I was like, what the hell is a podcast? It's 2013. I mean, I'm not technical now, but 2013, I never heard the word. So the first episode was called State of Italian America. And I was fortunate to have the Grand Poobah himself, Mr. Dominic Candeloro, present for that presentation with someone in the back, Mr. Bill Dalciero, and a nice woman named Chris Caliendo. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting in front of this microphone, we're all sitting around the table, and the guy had the theme song playing. And then all of a sudden it stops, and for that instant, I looked at that mic and I really thought, what the hell am I doing? Okay, I have no training in this. I really literally don't know what I'm doing. Of course, most of the things, as you'll learn, I don't know what I'm doing, but I started talking and I guess I never shut up. So the episode 6 that I organized was called First Trip to Italy. And I think it was like maybe 5 guys, a couple older than me, a couple my age, and my niece who had gone at 13. And the whole point of this was they talked about their first trip. I thought it was just tremendous because it was heartfelt, it was honest, it was raw, and it was like them just, you know, all of them, just kind of that same effect. Like they went there and they were just taken away, okay? It was a really, really, I thought it was a really good episode. And different perspectives. My niece went at 13, one of the guys went at like 70. So, you know, it was just all different. Okay, this good-looking group of men. Yeah. I don't know why we're laughing. I'm just kidding. This was episode 7, and this was about Italo Balbo and the famous flight in 1933. I'm sure, hopefully most of you are somewhat aware with it. There's a Balbo Drive in our city. So, that was the studio. Didn't cost a lot of money, obviously. I had Dominic Candelora and Bill Dalchero. The man in the with the suspenders, man named Don Fiore, often referred to as the great Don Fiore. He just wrote a book about Italo Balbo. He literally is probably the biggest expert on Italo Balbo in our country. And then that gentleman over across from him, and this was probably 2014, he was an eyewitness to the landing in 1933. So I had a guy that was there that was like, I think he was 10, and he remembered it all. So I mean, this was just a phenomenal episode about a very, very important topic, not only for Italian America, but really close to home in Chicago. Okay, the older gentleman is was a high school basketball coach here in Westchester at a high school called St. Joseph's. No longer here, it's closed. He was like one of the winningest coaches, not only in the state of Illinois, but in the United States of America. He coached multiple NBA players, and most importantly, he coached a man named Isaiah Thomas, okay, who was a Chicago kid that ended up somehow getting out to Westchester and then went on to win, I don't recall if he won a national championship, but I know he won an NBA championship and superstar. It was a good interview. Coach passed away about a year later, so I was happy to do that. Okay, this is so my wife went with some friends a tour of this church, way in the city, Kedzie and Jackson Boulevard.
Sorrows.
Our Lady of Sorrows.
Yeah, Lady of Sorrows.
Not a great area at night. You probably wouldn't want to go, but you know, she went in the daytime. She walked in this church. She met the pastor, Father Frank Falco, Italian American, baptized at this church. She said, she called me up because you got to interview this man. The church is stunning, stunning. And I was further lucky because, as you'll see as we keep going, I'm just a lucky guy. I brought a friend who was a professional photographer, and I think he had a drone or something. So, as you can see from this shot, he took that. It's the shape of a cross. Very interesting episode. Father Frank was a very, very nice man. This is also in the church. That's me and my friend, the photographer. And that's like, I think almost like an exact size duplicate of the Pietà in the Vatican. When you walk in the Vatican in Rome, you walk in to the right, that's what you find behind glass. Okay, so that friend, the photographer, was trying to pitch a TV show about using your phone for photography. But he proposed to me he could get us on the ledge of Sears Tower before it opened. We did a podcast 1,390 feet above the ground level. Got to be a record in the Guinness Book of World Records, the highest altitude podcast. It was incredible. As you can see, I'm half in, half out because I was a little. I mean, look at that. That was amazing, amazing. And then he somehow took that photo. Unbelievable. I really enjoyed that. So I see this article in the, I believe, the Sun Times. And it was really in that craze when it first started about, you could buy a house in Italy for $1. So this Chicago woman, they wrote an article about her because she actually did it. And obviously, you know, it's not as they advertise. It ain't no dollar, okay? So I read the article and I contacted her and we did an episode and my buddy's Pasta Fresh store, fresh pasta on 3418 North Island Avenue in Chicago, Mr. Tony Bartucci. I appreciate all the times he let me sit in there and do the episode. Very interesting, very informative episode, you know, the ones that stick in my mind. All right, this gentleman. This man, his name is Joe Savoldi. And I did the episode, he's long past, with his grandson. What an unbelievable story. So, this man was born in 1908, I want to say in northern Italy, comes to America around age 12. Well, he ends up attending Notre Dame University, which is really amazing because immigrants that came in 1920, they didn't go, let alone Notre Dame University, they didn't go to college. They're lucky they went to high school. I forget exactly the story, but he like worked with his dad and his uncle, some kind of construction when he was like 13, 14, 15. Well, obviously he becomes like a beast, right? And he's this tremendous athlete. He goes to Notre Dame and plays football for Coach Rockney. So the younger guys, you're not gonna know who that is. That's like one of, that's like the epitome of college football in those days, and Coach Rockney. And there was this famous movie about him and Notre Dame football. There was, the older people remember the speech about the Gipper, win one for the Gipper? He's in the room. He's in the room. He plays on the team for the Gipper speech. It's not even just that. He goes on to be like a professional wrestler. He ends up in World War II. Our government gets him because he speaks Italian and he speaks dialects Italian, and he's like espionage, spy. He eventually ends up being a teacher. I mean, just like a fascinating individual. I know it was a while ago, the grandson wanted to make a movie. It's hard to make these movies, but what a just incredible, fascinating figure. Okay, I saw this book by Lawrence Baldessaro, Tony Lazzari, baseball player. Now, I grew up with older siblings, older parents, and I very aware of older things of, actors and actresses and athletes and teams and stuff like that. I'd always kind of heard of Tony Lazzari. I knew the name. Why? He was Italian. But I didn't know who he was. This book explained it. Tony Lazzari was like Joe DiMaggio before Joe DiMaggio. I mean, that's a hell of a statement. And it's very true, and I was glad to learn about this. All these things I learn. I enjoy it. I want to learn. I soak this stuff up. I want to know more. Okay, this figure, Oriana Fallaci. I know a couple of the men in the back are big fans, and not just for her physical looks, for what she did. She was from Italy. She was a journalist. She was a legend. She came to America. She covered wars, and she was right there with the action. She interviewed every major power figure of the world, and she help me here. She was interviewing like Ayatollah, and he made her wear the thing. She ripped it off, threw it at him. This woman was this big, and she had more guts and glory than a man. Great figure. I came across this book. It was a woman from Italy, Cristina De Stefano. I contacted her, and fortunately she said, yeah, I'll do the interview. So really much enjoyed that. Enjoy this figure. I did an Italian-American moment about Oriana Fallaci. This is a movie waiting to happen, the story of Oriana Fallaci. Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Everybody take a breath. Take a breath and just soak it in. She's sitting there in the first row. She paid extra for that seat. This is Professor Anna Claudia Ionta from Loyola University. And she is an Italian professor for a long time. We're not going to give years. A long time. So she contacted me about this young lady, Artemisia Gentileschi. Now, I always say, one thing with me, I'm honest. I know less than I know. That's for sure. So I'm not an art guy. Who is she? This is like the 17th century, like one of the best artists ever. And she was a woman, and she started at like 14 or 15, and her father was an artist. So we did this whole interview about Gentileschi, Artemisia, and on a trip to Washington, D.C., I got to see some of her work, I believe in the Smithsonian Art Gallery.
There is one in Toledo, there is one in St. Louis, so a few works
She's
in the
around,
United
yes.
States.
That just sounded bad, but no. That episode was all in Italian. I've done maybe 5 of them in Italian completely. I show you this, the Little Italian School. Well, thank God for LinkedIn. I'm linked in with this woman. She runs this school. This school is in Australia. Tanya Pietracatella. I want to say she was from Molise originally, and then they moved to Australia. And like, she's a super nice lady. She does everything I adore, I believe in, promoting and teaching Italian language and culture, and she has a whole school to it in Australia, and such a nice lady. And plus the fact that I'm sitting in my room and she's in Australia and we're doing this podcast, like I just couldn't believe it. Like it was just amazing to me. Another book. I like to interview authors, especially when it's about Italian subjects. Louis Rosati. We had him here. He came here a couple of years after this interview for a IA Literati event that we have yearly, which will be May 23, I believe. May 23 here in this room. I want to say it's like our 22nd year. Mr. Rosati was kind of in the general area. He does not live, he lives in Arizona, and he came by. What a nice man, what a gentleman, abruzzese, forte gentile, and the book was very interesting, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, here I just couldn't believe. I interviewed Dr. Luis Ignato. Dr. Lou Ignato received a Nobel Prize in medicine or physiology, and I want to say 1998, which just like, what a nice man, and what a great story. You know, he went to school. When he started school, he didn't know English. He was born here, but he didn't know English. His parents didn't speak English, and he felt stupid, and he like had to come home, you know, he had to beat all these odds and grew up to be just brilliant and such a down-to-earth man. And I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm like, I interviewed a Nobel Prize recipient. I just couldn't believe it. It was great. Okay, Davide Fiore. He just made a film, and I don't have it up there, about a man named A.P. Giannini. Davide came from Italy about 8 years ago, went to California, and, okay, how do I do this? Okay, this is a real short video that I was on a podcast of friends, these two guys, Greg Chidone, Frank Scaletta, XR Realty on Harlem Avenue. They're about, I don't know, 3800 North Harlem. And we were talking about Italian stuff. Let me put it up so you can hear. It's real quick. The greatest Italian American hero, A.P. Giannini, who started the Bank of Italy, which became the Bank of America. This man didn't just start a bank. This man loaned money to middle-class people because they couldn't get loans.
Because most of that banks want to give money to
Yeah,
like
the rich.
The rich.
The rich could borrow and get richer.
Instead, he built his bank by the middle class.
Yes, he did. He
Bank.
made them get ahead.
Yeah.
He saved the city of San Francisco after the earthquake. He helped out Disney.
He was one of the first banks to help out the little firm. And now it's Bank of America. They changed it after the war. Is that right?
I don't know exactly.
If he ended up getting bigger and bigger, he had to change the name.
Okay. My friends have nice, you know, editing and graphics. I could do that, so they end up being very nice. Okay, so fortunately for everyone here, 6 days from now, at that building over there, the other building on the property, we are going to show a documentary that Davide Fiore made, and Davide came from Italy to California. In his words, he saw like some kind of a head, what do you call it, bust? He saw a bust of this A.P. Giannini, founder of Bank of America, and he couldn't believe it. An Italian American founded Bank of America, and he was a filmmaker, and God bless the man, he made this documentary, 90 minutes, about A.P. Giannini. I will tell you this, A.P. Giannini is one of our greatest Italian Americans ever, and a huge majority of us have no clue who he is. It's very sad to me. I don't like that. We need to. I want everyone to come, tell people, because this gentleman, Giannini, has to get promoted more. We need more Giannini and less Soprano, okay? More intelligent and less stupid. Okay, that's where we gotta go with Italian American. Okay. Next. 2019. My son, who helps me with all the technical stuff. I don't know any technical stuff. I can push this button. There's a little cheat sheet, which button to push. He says, you know, you should do like a short video about, you know, an accomplishment, an invention, something like that. Okay, so I write something up, I stand against the wall, he films me. We call it the Italian American moment. I didn't know it was gonna last. I gotta be honest, for a fact, a major national Italian organization, after I did a few of these, they had a guy do the Italian American Minute. Okay? And he's in his suit, and he's all, well, da-da-da-do. It lasted like 1 or 2. Okay? I mean, that's okay, because imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So, we do, okay, so they're like 1 minute. I write them up. This is one example. This one was about Helen Cherese. Look at this. I wear a tie 2 times like in the last 10 years, and they're both on screen. This is about Helen Cherese. Helen Cherese was an attorney from here. I'll just play it so you can learn. This is your Italian American moment. Helen Cherese was born in 1899 to Sicilian parents. In 1921, she became the youngest woman in Illinois to receive a law license. She campaigned for the right of women to be jurors, and she was one of a team of Italian-American lawyers who successfully appealed the conviction and death sentence of Sabella Nitti, a recent Italian immigrant from Bari. Stay proud. That's how I would end every Italian-American moment. Okay, so then sometimes if the situation presented itself or I went out and got it, in this very room, this was some event. I don't recall what it was, but obviously there was a lot of people here, right? So I had written up one about Antonin Scalia. He was the first Italian-American judge on the Supreme Court. And then at the end of it, I instructed all of them, and they didn't do as well as I do, but I said, stay proud after when you see me point. So we all screamed it. It was cool. I really enjoyed that. My daughter goes to UIC, University of Illinois, Chicago, and she is a member of the dance team, and they would perform at the basketball game. So I'm sitting in the audience, and I wrote a moment about a basketball coach, college basketball coach named Jim Valvano, that coached North Carolina State University, and it's one of the greatest underdog stories. He went on to win the national championship in basketball. He was a real character. So I wrote this moment, well, what better place than a college basketball game? So I asked her coach, I'm like, hey, she don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm like, would you mind after the game if, some of the girls and I stand in the court and we do this? No problem. So we got on the court. Now there's the background music, people. I'm like screaming so that they can hear me. I don't have a mic or not, but my daughter's in the shot. It was very appropriate, and I really enjoyed that. Jim Valvano. Okay, this is one of those men that I never heard of, and I'm, obviously very, I don't know everything, but I'm very aware of stuff. I get Italian American magazines, newspapers delivered. I always got my ears open and my eyes open. This man is Leonard Covello. And I'm going to read what he did. So, he was born in Italy, in Basilicata. He was an educator. So in 1920, he returned to his former position at DeWitt Clinton High School. And I want to say it was in New Jersey, right?
No, it's New York City.
Oh, New York City. Okay, sorry. New York City. And what he did was, he had an idea to integrate young Italian Americans. Covello challenged the practices that tended to separate the children from their culture and language, including their families and their communities of origin, as a prerequisite for their success in studies. Meaning, you got to give up all your Italianness in your family so that you could succeed. He didn't agree. So, as he recollected in his autobiography, throughout my whole elementary school career, I do not recall one mention of Italy or the Italian language, or what famous Italians there were in the world, with the possible exception of Columbus. We soon got the idea that Italian meant something inferior, and a barrier was erected between children of Italian origin and their parents. They're separating the families with what was happening. We were becoming Americans by learning how to be ashamed of our parents. In bilingualism and biculturalism, Covello saw the means to facilitate the transition of children from immigrants to integrated citizens without separating them from their communities or native culture, but on the contrary, instilling in them the pride of their roots. For this purpose, he founded Il Circolo Italiano, the Italian Circle, at DeWitt Clinton in 1914. I mean, this guy's amazing, what he did, and those are the kind of people we're not going to know about, but I'm happy to do this Italian American moment that at least it's there, and you know, maybe someday he'll win. That's a hero. That's a real hero. He went to bat for his own people. Okay, this gentleman. We all, Milky Way candy bar. We all know what that is. They still make Milky Way candy bars? You guys must eat Milky Way candy bars? There's your creator and inventor, an Italian immigrant from Calabria, Tom Dattolo. It was, I think it's closed, the Mars Candy Factory on Armitage Avenue and Oak Park Avenue in Galewood section of Chicago, where they made Mars candy bars, I believe Snickers. But this man, this immigrant from Calabria, invented, created the Milky Way candy bar. Okay, so as we went with the moments, then we got a little fancier, because I don't think people really wanted to see me talk anymore. So my son, it's like I give him pictures and he makes a video with the pictures, and then I talk. So the gentleman you're gonna see is Danny Citrone. He was the solo guitarist on the song Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets. Pretty much the most iconic rock and roll song in America ever, okay? So here's the Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley and the Comets. It was the initial theme song for the Happy Days TV show. I mean, it's amazing that this Italian-American, son of Italian immigrants, was the solo guitarist on it.
Donato Joseph Danny Citrone was born on June 20th, 1920 in Jamesfield, New York, one of 9 children to Italian immigrant parents from the province of Avellino in the Campania region. He was a guitar player and band leader, hired by Bill Haley and his settlement in 1951 as a session guitarist. He played lead on their recording of Rocket 88, which is considered one of the first acknowledged rock and roll recordings. In 1954, he was a solo guitarist and performing with Bill Haley and the Comets for the iconic song Rock Around the Clock, which set off the rock and roll craze. In 1955, the song became the first rock and roll recording to hit the #1 on the music charts. Unfortunately, Danny did not live to see the record's success or the influence that he would have on the world of music. In June of 1954, 3 days before his 34th birthday, he died in a freak accident in his home. Stay proud.
So that's kind of the way now I do these moments. Okay, next up. From inspiration from these walls and the walls that lead to the library and this man and all the volunteers, you know, we help people write their books. We write books, and I don't know what the hell got into me. I never wrote a book. I never wrote a term paper. I write this children's book. Okay, I'm sorry. Children's book. I write this children's book. And little innuendos of Italian in it. And then I'm thinking, okay, now this is another means to hopefully, all this stuff I do, it's with the hope that it brings awareness. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not be while I'm alive. But there's just that hope that sometime, someday, somewhere, it can positively affect our people. So, first book I write is My Big Family. Like I said, some innuendos. Now I'm thinking, hey, we got a means to get to the little Italian kids. So now, Teddy Bianco is a teddy bear, that's white, and he's in the first book, so we continue, and now this book is about the little girl, it's a family, going to Italy and bringing the teddy bear. So now there's much more. It's all about where she goes in Italy, different cultural things. And we do this book, because now we got the bug, I guess. And this book is called Nonno's Magical Garden, and it's all about everybody's Nonno and gardening, but like all of the vegetables and everything is written in Italian and in English, and you know, it's just a nice little thing to learn how to say them in Italian. Now we think, I'm saying enough. So now we do bilingual, the whole book. It's in English, it's in Italian. What am I wasting, you know, just do it both. So this is about, obviously, a trip to Abruzzo, and it's in English and it's in Italian. driving my car one day, and I'm just up to here with all of this emphasis, you know, social media and the three major things: followers, likes, and views. We will sell our soul to the devil to get those things. And then mostly people are gonna make money off those things. So a lot of people pitching Italian stuff, when they're making money, I don't think they're really that concerned with our integrity, our image. So I'm tired of, you know, Gabagool, and I'm tired of the Tony Soprano. So I'm driving my car and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna write a book, just what I feel is why I should be proud. You should be proud. There's a million things to be proud about. Pretty much Tony Soprano and Gabagool do not come on that list. So I wrote this whole book that I say adults should read it, because there's so much and we don't know and we're losing it. So I was happy to do that, and I am going to continue a couple more as well. Italian Women in Chicago, Volume 2. Once again, Volume 1 by Dominic Candeloro with a couple other people. He wanted to do a second version after about 14, 15 years. I was one of the co-editors along with Anna Weiss in the back. Once again, I'm a co-editor. I don't even know what that means. And you know, you just, that's about life, you young guys. You don't have to have it all figured out. Nobody does. You know, you just go in. When you go with your heart and your soul, things tend to go well. So I was really happy and honored to be a part of this book, co-editor. I ended up writing 3 stories to be in the book. I think it's we have the book up here. I think there's the book. I think it came out really well. Vast array of women from Chicago that ended up being professionals. We have spiritual stories. We have Nonna stories. We have entrepreneurial stories. We have a lot of different stories. There's a lot of stuff. It's like 340 pages, a lot of stuff packed into the book. And apparently I have another video that I probably talked about it. So here we go. The women are more important. Without them, we wouldn't be there. This is Italian Women in Chicago, Volume 2. The first one was done about 14, 15 years ago. It's got over 30 stories. We have a story about the first woman in the state of Illinois to receive a law license. Italian American. A story about being an angel from Maria Santissima Lauretana, the famous Flight of the Angels. After reading this story, if you're not brought to tears, there's something wrong with you. There was an Italian-American woman in the 50s, had a salon on Michigan. And a story about Mother Cabrini, and a story about Florence Scala, who fought for Taylor Street. Marina Lenza, a woman who comes from Italy at 60 to live in downtown Chicago and work here for 5 years. It's got some spotlights. It's got a little bit of poetry. We have a lot of very interesting stories, from a dentist to a lawyer to a pizza maker to a hairstylist. Wow. I think my friends, their videos are outstanding because we did the podcast. They got a guy filming it. He edited it. He puts all that stuff. One day, I hope. Okay. Through this book, we're trying to promote it. So there is a group out in New York City. New York City, National Organization of Italian American Women. No Iowa. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So I send them the book with a little letter like, you know, hey, we finished this book, you know, we're trying to promote it, you know. We send them on to a lot of places. Well, lo and behold, a lady I know that was on my podcast, she works in the office. We got her in. So now they contact me and they want to do something. So we do a national Zoom, like a national Zoom. And then they asked me to be like the moderator, which, you know, I'm like, oh, it's all about women. I said, no, you do it. So we did this national Zoom with those ladies. Really, it really was a nice event. We had quite a few people on it, you know, and it all helps to promote the book. Okay, what is that? So, now it's just being funny. You don't have to answer. 2013, I was a member of an Italian club, Grand in Harlem, and once a month they had a dinner, a club. It was called Cenetta. Cena means dinner, Cenetta, little dinner, correct me if I'm wrong, professoressa, right? Cenetta, okay, good, I passed. So, club closes. Well, I'm the type of guy like, well, why can't we do it? Why not? I always say, why not? Why not? You know, you don't have to be a genius, you don't have to. So, 2013, go see a guy I know, got a restaurant in like the Harlem Avenue area, North Harlem Avenue area, and just set up a dinner and, you know, whatever he charged me, I charged the people. We started having these dinners and people liked it. So, through it, that was one of them. I made the banner. That was an incredible antipasto, and someone had made wooden shape of Italy. It was huge. I mean, it was huge, like 5-6 feet. That was incredible. Anyway, so we do these dinners. Now, it's not just to come and stuff your face. Every dinner, I promote upcoming events. We have rare occasions, 4 or 5 times. I don't want to bother people, and this is not a money thing. This is, I hope I collect all the money so I don't lose money. Okay, this is whatever the guy charges me, I charge them. I go around, like Dominic said, sometimes 100 people, and it's just like the confusion and blah, 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 and I'm just trying to, okay. So 4 or 5 times we had a raffle to raise money exclusively for Italian situations. Be it Italian Mass at the church, be it one of our feast bands needed some equipment, and they talked to me, and I said, sure, we'll have a raffle. So we did the raffle, I told everybody, it's a great cause, blah, 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 here's the money, they're gone. So then so 2013 we started Little Italy Cenetta, and I think it was 2022 that I thought, you know what, I want to honor someone at this dinner, but there's a catch. They don't know. It's a surprise. So this is not about trying to sell tables and get ads. There's no ads. There's no tables. Hey, in a roundabout way, you're going to be there for sure, just so I know. And these are people that don't get honored. In fact, I don't honor you if you've been honored. You know what I mean? These are just unsung heroes that I can see do so much, and that little plaque is the least we can do. So, as you can see Anna in the background there, stand up, Anna. Oh, really? Stand up. I would have busted a vein if I didn't say that. Anyways, we started honoring these, and I adore the surprise. So I say, okay, we got 2 people to honor, and it's one of you people in this room. I mean, I think it works out real nice. These are some more. The man on the left is one of our great volunteers, Lucio Bosco. Came from Italy about 4 years ago and found the internet, found Casa Italia, made it here by public transportation. He lives by the lake in Montrose. He got here public transportation. To this day, he takes public transportation to get here. He's a he's one of our pillars. I mean, he gets there and he does stuff. Great guy, as well as the gentleman on the right.
Yes.
For you young people who don't know, and some of you do, that's Mr. Luke Capuano.
Yes.
He's a native Chicagoan, Taylor Street, still lives there, was a professional boxer and a hell of a guy. This is our 2 most recent. So this is what we do at Little Italy Cenetta. And, like Dominic said, last time we had 104 people. I was about to lose my mind because now, mind you, there's not reservations. I don't have tables set up. This is like people just walk in. And now I don't want somebody to sit with people they don't know. So I'm like running around trying to get people to sit where they are so they have an enjoyable time. I love it. Italic Institute of America, Italic.org. Their catchphrase, the Italian heritage on a classical foundation. They're a group pretty much like no other. They educate us. They had a magazine called The Italic Way. We have a whole box of them in our archives. It's 40-ish pages of pure information. You learn stuff. They've written books. They started an Aurora program, which was a program to teach 10 to 12-year-olds on a Saturday morning out in the New York area, because that's where they are in New York. They taught over 2,000 kids. They made up their own curriculum. Tremendous group. You can look them up. They did a film study, and once you read about the film study, you kind of look at the Godfather film a little differently. So just wanted to bring highlight to them. They made these placemats here. Okay, so the man who runs it, Mr. John Mancini, he had all these placemats. They're literally placemats. You know, like back in the day with pizza places would have a placemat under the, you barely find that anymore. He had a ton of them. I said, you know what, John? If you don't mind, send them to me. I'm gonna see what I can do. So what I did was, I would bring them to people I knew with businesses, clubs. We take a picture, we promote it. The stuff on it is all inventions of Italy. You're welcome. When this is over, come and take a placemat. Please take a flyer. And I start getting them out there, okay? Famous hair salon in the Chicago area, okay? Doesn't bring in a lot of money, but it's famous. DiMaggio, beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful family in my neighborhood, just like that. And then I would leave a stack there. He actually put them on the tables for a while. At one of my Little Italy Cenettas, we took a picture of placemats. Obviously, I would pass them out there as well. We got a priest. We got a priest, and he believes in the inventions of Italy. So this is Father Leandro from Our Lady of Mount Carmel on 23rd in Augusta in Melrose Park, Illinois, where you will find an Italian Mass every, not once in a while, not for an occasion, every Sunday at 10:30 there is a Mass in Italian. Please spread the word. We did it even there. All right, that takes us to faith and tradition. So a lot of our stuff, we're on the decline. So I'm the type, you know, you put up or shut up. You know what I mean? You just talk about things you got to. So if it's Italian, it's Catholic, you got me. I'll help in any way, shape, or form I can. I believe I'm a man of faith. If I can help these things keep going, I'm going to do it. So this, for example, this is right on Harlem Avenue in Chicago. That is a buddy of mine, Mr. Joey G. He bought a St. Joseph statue. He had some friends build the base. And every year, we do a little procession on the sidewalk on Harlem Avenue in Chicago for St. Joseph. And it's usually the day before Father's Day because St. Joseph is the patron saint of fathers. And it's a really cool thing. I give the guy all the credit in the world. And he lives in a condo. He's got the statue, all this stuff in his condo storage, and he believed in it. And we walk up that street, and it's just, I mean, people are happy, they're honking, they're waving, beautiful thing. There is Our Lady of Pompeii for the Festa della Repubblica, started 18 years ago by our very own Carlo Bonilla in the back. Stand up, stand up. No, really, stand up. There was no way I wasn't saying that again. It's not my fault. Okay. Carlo started the Festa della Repubblica June 2nd. He does it either the Sunday before, Sunday after. Taylor Street area. We support it. We have a procession in the streets of Taylor Street after Mass. Beautiful thing. May 31 this year. Sunday, come there, 11 a.m. Mass. Procession after. This is another group I'm in, the Italian Catholic Federation, branch 392 in Chicago out of St. Francis Borgia Church on Addison and, well, it's on Addison, but Addison and Forest Preserve. Yes. And that was, I was carrying that at the Maria Santissima Lauretana Feast, which is Labor Day weekend, which is the biggest Italian feast in Chicago, Chicagoland, since 1900. Maria Santissima Lauretana, great group of people. And I also walked in that feast for another group I'm in. It's called Chiama. It's for La Madonna di Buterito from Ceia del Campo in Puglia. And no, I'm not even Pugliese. Yes, there's something wrong with me. Here we go. The Offspring. The fruit of my loin, I think. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So there's me, my wife, my children. That is the Festa della Famiglia in honor of San Francesco di Paola, who is the patron saint of Calabria. Huge feast right here on these grounds. I expect University of Chicago to come August 8th and 9th or 9th and 10th. I can't remember. It's a wonderful time. Food, free food, basically. Entertainment, processions, everything. You know what happened with San Francesco? I've gone to it for, my wife was born in Italy, in Calabria. So I went to this San Francesco Fest every year since I know her. And then about 5 years ago, the gentleman who was their MC, he was getting older, he couldn't do it. They asked me to be MC. I think they're just all great. This is great stuff. Let's keep it going. I joined, I'm a member, and I love it. Once again, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. We gotta promote it. We gotta promote it. People out there do not realize there is an Italian Mass every week. There are some other Italian Masses. These groups I'm in have them from time to time. Our Italian Catholic Federation probably has one once a month at St. Francis Borgia. But this place, it's every week. It's every week. And like it says at the bottom. And I kind of copied this from a group that I know. It's called the Italian Mass Project out in New York City. Another great girl I interviewed. She's an attorney, works for the Archdiocese of New York. And she's the head of this Italian Mass Project. And I told her, you inspired me, because they have flyers like this. They do a lot. And I just made this simple flyer to just say, like I said, my name's not on it. It's not about me. It's about, we have Italian Mass at Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And it's like, I posted and I said, please, share it, spread it. So we got to do it. If we don't do it, nobody's gonna. Triton College, the beloved Triton College, junior college in this area. About 5 years ago, I went to Triton, and I got a call from a lady there and said they wanted to do something for Italian Heritage Month. I mean, wow, that's great. I wasn't expecting that. It's a junior college, any college. In October, they wanted to do an event. So I have been with them ever since. The first one was a panel discussion. I was like the moderator. These are all Triton people. They went to Triton. Worked out very nicely. We were on Channel 7 News because of one individual sitting there in the panel, not me. I don't know anybody. That gentleman I'm interviewing and talking to, he is a current chairman of Casa Italia. We did another panel discussion. I got the great Don Fiore. He could have done the panel discussion. Just him talking for 2 hours. So he's so brilliant, it wasn't enough time. We have done other things, and I always say them every year. They're like, okay, what are we gonna do? I'm like, you want me? I'm there. You know what I mean? I am more than happy to help. Let's keep it going. Okay. The future. In CMA. A young man lives in my neighborhood. He told me a couple years ago, he's like, his parents were like in this Italian organization for young people 35 years ago. And I said to him, his name is Christian Giacalone, Jr. I don't know if he goes by Junior. He's a junior. I said, Christian, look, I know we need something like this. I want something like this. I can't start this. I'm an old man. I can't go up to young people and say, hey, you got to start a club. He said, if you want to do this, I will help you in every way. So I'm, I guess, like an advisor. I've been with Christian from every step of the way. We meet for a coffee. We must have met 15 times. It is a very, very, I have some pictures. That's the logo. So you guys, they're on Instagram, Facebook, follow them. The difference is, this is not just to go to bars. We don't need to create this to go to bars. This is to be, it's social, of course it is. It's networking, but it's also about the community, the Italian community. It's also about cultural things. They're off to a great start. I think they've been around a year. In this very room, they had a paint and sip night with wine. We must have had 48 young people in here. And we have one of our gentlemen in the community that's an artist. He kind of helped out and stuff. Really good group of young people. Highly advise it. to you sitting here as well, and to everybody out there. Insieme, on Instagram, I think it's Insieme Official, one of the events, and then they're on Facebook as well. And it's young, it's new, and I think our biggest challenge is people knowing it exists. Because once they know it exists, a lot of people are interested. It's a great group, and there's thousands of Italian Americans that are between 18 and 32 out there in the Chicagoland area. They will be, and I hope everybody comes to the Maria Santissima Laudatana Feast, Labor Day weekend, on Gulf Road in Niles at the Golf Mill Center. It's a tremendous Italian feast, and they will be there as well with a booth. Some more pictures. That was a picture from the evening of the paint and sip. And as you can see in that picture, he left for today. I think he's embarrassed of me, but San Francesco di Paola was in that corner up until about 4 days ago. We had an event, so we brought him over to that building. That's San Francesco di Paola. That's our statue. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm sorry. Actually, I didn't take that long. Okay, I talk fast. Hopes, plans, dreams. Why? Because they make life tolerable. If there wasn't anything to shoot for, I might as well be dead. I gotta be honest with you. I love that. And you have hopes, and you have, wow, that's me. I was ready to yell like the priest at church, shut your phones. What are these things? Okay, well, I'm a big fan of just positive stuff out there, exposing younger people to the Italian language and the Italian culture, be it classes, be it online. We have to do that. The Italian language is a beautiful language, wonderful, one of the most beautiful in the world. It's the most beautiful in the world. Am I wrong? Of course I'm not. You don't need to answer. So, to have your kids do that. Anybody can. You could be 80 and go online and try to learn some Italian. We're always in a bad image on the big screen, on the little screen, pretty much any screen, on the computer, okay? A lot to do with, if you look up the film study on italic.org, post The Godfather film as opposed to pre The Godfather film. Now, how do we fight that? It's a tough fight, tough fight. Mob stuff movies sells. They make money. Hollywood does not give a damn about our image. They're gonna keep making this stuff. They're gonna continue to make it because it makes money. What can we do? Well, you know what? Like this. Documentary about A.P. Giannini. A film about Oriana Fallaci. The recent film of Cabrini. God bless those who were responsible for bankrolling it and making it. We need short films, documentaries, films, specials, anything. We have so many positive figures. We don't know who A.P. Giannini is because there was never anything to watch about A.P. Giannini. And it's not like you're learning this in school. If you were learning it in school, that'd be one thing. Nobody's teaching it. So this generation loses it. They don't know who Giannini is. Now they had kids, and then they had kids, and so on, and he gets lost. So positive stuff. Educate more and dummy less. To hell with these people with the views and the likes and the followers and the leaders that buy into this stuff. We're not getting better, we're getting worse because we're emphasizing. You do the video and you talk like an idiot, and you talk about mozzarella and gabagool, and you get 10,000 likes. I do the video about A.P. Giannini, I get 47. Now, not for me, but it just shows you. I get it, that's what people like, hey, but then that's what people think we are. That is wrong. That bothers the living shit out of me, okay? That is, are you kidding me? Oh, I'm keeping it in, I can talk a lot. Believe me, this is the PG version of my life here. Oh my God. So, it bothers me so much because it does have an effect, okay? It does have an effect. Quick story, I got a friend who's a teacher, high school. So, he's in high school. Young kid, wasn't Italian, wouldn't even matter. He was Polish. And he said, hey, teach, I know Italian. Oh yeah, what do you know? Gabagool. That's what he said. Now, it's funny, but then again, That's what they really think. This is what the American public thinks, and then our own offspring. You know, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, we're getting generations removed. This is what they see. What you see is what you believe. So they watch all this stuff and they think we're just a bunch of, hey, what's it up, blah, 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 Tony Soprano. That's ridiculous. So this fight is not an easy one. It's not an easy one, but we got to continue to do this kind of stuff. We have to. One quick story. I wanted to say it in the very beginning to show the effect. So living in that big Italian influenced area, the movie Rocky comes out, right? 50 years ago, I was nine. It was at a theater called the Montclair Theater in the Montclair section of Chicago, Grand Avenue. And my sister was 19, and apparently she was probably in love with Sylvester Stallone, and they had the movie for $1. So she goes to see the movie like, oh my God, like 5 times. They take me, 9-year-old. Now, in this theater on Grand Avenue by Harlem Avenue, I'm gonna guess 95% of the people are Italian in this theater. Packed. So now, it's a movie about a boxer. So at the end of the movie is the boxing scene. Well, people are screaming like you think we're at a real live boxing match. I'm a little kid, right? Oh my God. I left that theater beaming with pride. I could have run through a brick wall. That's a little story of what created. But the big dream, because I really feel it here, probably more importantly here. Let's go back to that first trip to Italy. That is worth 1,000 visits to the St. Anthony Fest and 1,000 sausage sandwiches, okay? We have a thing about, if we go to the fest and we eat the sandwich, hey, I'm telling you, okay, it's nice to be at the fest. I'm sure the sandwich was quite good. It's not going to be the effect, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of these heritage nights at these sports arenas. So I'm going to pay $80 to go to this game, so they give me a hat. Okay, you probably lost. A hat don't cost $80. Like, what is this really going to change our people? Is this going to affect me? Is this going to mold me? Is this going to make me smarter? No, you got a nice baseball hat. Came across Birthright Israel. What's Birthright Israel? Well, 2 wealthy guys had this idea to send 18 to 25-year-olds to Israel that were Jewish. Okay? Had to be the first trip. They went around. Nobody liked the idea. The difference between them and me is they were super rich. They bankrolled it themselves. They put like 10 million each into it. This was around the year 2000. Today, they have sent 750,000 18 to 25-year-olds there. There's your effect. What am I getting at? I like to call it Explore Italy. If we could send 18 to 25-year-olds to Italy, that is like ethnic, what do you call that when you get strong? Steroids. That's like ethnic steroids. You get them to Italy, you forget all the other stuff. It doesn't even compare. You set foot there, good odds it's going to have an effect on you. And what is it going to do? It's going to make you a better Italian American, a smarter one, and maybe you buy into this now where you go on for more, that you want more, and then maybe you get involved in these communities. That's, to me, is the dream. I don't know how, because I'm short the 10 million. I'm short about 10 million. That's it. I talk to people. I'm in this environment, oh my God, like every day of my life. And so many, I could get testimonials from here to eternity of, I went to Italy at 20, I went to Italy at 25, I went at 18, and it changed everything. Well, obviously it's not going to affect that way everybody, but a huge majority of it is. And then we would be creating a better community. Apparently I'm the only one that really sees this right now. There are people that, but nobody so that's a dream. How to go about getting this, I don't know. I'm lessening the amount so it could be realistic, and then I even think hey, we just start here and we could send 20. Maybe it would catch on throughout the country. That's the big dream, because that is, I find it to be the single best, most important way that we're going to affect the future generations. otherwise, we are on this decline for many reasons. We would need another 3 hours. These cards up here, I made these cards. I'm a little off. I'm a lot off, okay? And I came up with 52 cards into 2 Joker cards, and I got the pictures, and I wrote the captions, and bothered my son because I don't know how to do any of this, and we made these cards. They're the regular American playing cards, but you're gonna learn something 54 times about Italian Americans or Italians that came here and had an impact in some way, okay? So, this is my Italian American life. And as I always finish, I say, stay calm. Stay calm. Questions, comments, eggs to be tossed in my way?
Well, Frank, you met all expectations, which were very high, and he's now ready to take questions, I'm sure.
If you have any, anything curious, yes sir, in the back there.
What I believe in our community, what we need is more support for one another, okay? I'll give you a good example about the mob store thing. I had contacted an Italian American alderman years ago, asking if he was, I believe in doing things I know we could do, okay, not building a bridge or whatever. And I told him, I would like to make a proposal that on Harlem Avenue, we could have an honorary street sign for Falcone and Borsellino. He didn't know who it was, and he told me, people don't know who it is. And he goes, and right now we're doing other things on Harlem. So I at that, and I explained to him, the reason people don't know who they are is if you put the sign on, people go like, who are they? And then you explain these people, these 2 judges were murdered in Sicily, okay, and because of their sacrifice, the mafia has almost been crushed in Sicily. Okay, so now if politicians, Italian American politicians, and Italian American groups don't help you, I can't do it by myself. And there's many things that are like that, you know, and that's the problem, okay? If you don't know who somebody is, you explain to them, you know? And so that's...
And it's kind of like the basis of our documentary next Friday. We don't know who A.P. Giannini is. We should know Borsellino and Falcone.
I made a, you know, off the internet, I wrote a story, but I made it up to drop it out to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, read up and then get back to me, but they never get back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's a person supposed to do?
Yeah.
Read them up?
Just like
He just lost us.
you went back. Just like the
then
display
Alderman,
at
that's
the National
Italian.
Archive gift shop in Washington D.C.
What's that?
It's all about Al Capone and the mob.
Oh, is it?
Biggest insult ever. I
Wow.
walked in there and I swear if my husband wasn't there, I probably would have got arrested.
Wow.
Because I would have tossed every article in that gift shop out the window.
In the Smithsonian.
It does me so, yes, the National Archives in Washington D.C.,
Wow.
the gift shop.
Well, that's what I mean, but there again, both of what you said, my opinion, like a lot of our problems, Columbus, whatnot, we do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. I mean, it's easy to blame, but we're not unified, educated, together, fighting causes together. You know what I mean? So, like at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, we are treated kind of not too well, but at the end of the day, kind of is our fault with a lot of things. Other groups wouldn't stand for that, having Al Capone or an Al Capone type for their ethnic group being highlighted in our nation's capital at the Smithsonian.
Exactly.
Us, it goes along with our likes, followers, and views. And our national leaders buy into this. And I mean, these leaders, I haven't voted. Anybody voted in here for an Italian American leader? Because I don't think we have elections. So they're not my leaders, okay? They're self-appointed leaders. But do a better job, because you're in position. You're in position. You have power, connections, and typically the leader is the guy who's got all the money. So do a better job. This is what we, regular people, it's hard to fight the Smithsonian in DC. But these national groups could. Got me all riled up, Carlo. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So if your birthright, like dream,
Yes.
was a reality,
Yes.
what cities would you want the kids to go to? Like, would you want them to go to Rome and Florence? You think that would be like the authentic Italian experience, or would you want them to go like?
Well, I mean, okay, one thing with the other one, they go all over. So ultimately, you're going to go to different places. And I mean, the Rome, Florence, Venice thing is kind of like the touristy thing like that. Is that real Italian? It's Italian, obviously, but it's kind of like a little watered down. But I mean, Rome is amazing, amazing. I mean, there's so much there, as is Florence, as is Venice. So I don't even know. Hey, I'll be honest with you. All of that would come. This is the difficult thing. This, I mean, I've talked about it, and I think people believe in it, and I'm trying to get this and like the core group. Okay, I can't do this alone. There's no way. You know what I mean? So, do I think it could happen? Yes, I really do. I really and truly do. This is a 12-day trip. It's not like I'm saying you send 20 kids and it costs you $4 grand. That's $80 grand. Tack on a little more, you need $100,000. That's not insurmountable. The 10 million, that's insurmountable at this point, okay? But I think we can, and it's definitely one of those things like, it's my bucket list kind of a dream, like, before I drop, I just gotta get this to happen. I gotta get this to happen. So we're gonna try, that's all you can do. We're gonna try, yes?
Back, I think, in the 50s, and I can't think of her name. She was the daughter of one of the US presidents. Started a program called Young Ambassadors, something like that.
Okay.
It dissolved a few years back, but what's it? Truman's daughter, yes. My daughter was lucky to be invited when she was in 5th grade.
Oh.
She was invited to attend this Young Ambassadors to Europe. She went all over Europe. Our group didn't go to Italy at the time, but the format was, it's an educational program, 21 days. Parents paid for it.
Oh.
They could fundraise. You might want, I can get the information. It might be something that we can use as a guide to start it.
Right, well, thank you. No, two things you made me think of. The Birthright Israel thing, there's like an application fee, and it's free. It's free.
Right.
And number two, I don't want to give the wrong impression. There's a group that sends like 12 college kids to Italy, but 12 college kids, let's be honest, with connections and far, it pales in comparison to sending 20,000 in a year. We're sending 12. I mean, are we much that lower than those people? Of course we're not. Of course not. Do we have wealth? Do we have everything? Yes, we do. I just feel like we don't put it to the right things. We got to put it to the right things. So 12 or 20, I mean, that's let's be honest, that's a joke compared to what the other groups are doing. So it's not that this doesn't exist, but that also is a college student thing. The Birthright Israel, you don't have to be in college. It's not about college. It's 18 to 25 years old, nothing to do with college. Now, they do have different themes and whatnot. I mean, they've done just amazing things. And I will say this, the nut that I am, I sent an email to them. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm an Italian-American in Chicago. I'm very involved in the community. I would love to learn more. Now, if I would have wrote that to an Italian-American group, they never answered me. These people answered me in 2 days. Oh, sure, we'll do a Zoom. I was on the Zoom with the guy for 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I felt bad. It was like, oh, okay, you know, he had nothing to gain. That's the difference between them and our people. Our people would have ignored me. They wouldn't have cared.
That's a shame.
This group, the guy gave me 1 hour and 10 minutes, literally nothing to benefit for. Like I said, I cut it at that because I felt bad. I mean, but that just shows you. That just shows you. So, any other questions? I know we got some major pizza bread coming. Yes, young lady.
Should I stand?
It's up to you. The comments are done. I'm not going to joke 2 times. So,
First of all, I want to say that Frank is the epitome, how do you say that? Of why not? Okay? Even if you don't have an idea, you talk to Frank, he's going to organize it out of nothing. He's an extremely, come si dice, enthusiast, passionate person you can rely on for anything. From the Cenetta to all these books, amazing, Frank. You're really,
thank you.
come posso dire, una persona we can look up to because, and you're young and you can still do a lot.
I appreciate it. I mean, and I really mean this. It's not about me. It's, you know, I've been to Italy many times. I'm not 18 to 25. It's just affecting. It's what we can do. It's our responsibility now to leave something for the future. Yes.
I'm not done yet.
I'm sorry.
Okay, next. What I see after 39 years of teaching in America. I want to remember the very first, I was just probably first month here in Chicago teaching. And my classes at Loyola were quite full of Italian American kids. One kid came and told me, Professoressa, my family is from Italy, and I'm here taking Italian. No, but says, but my family tells me, what are you going to do with Italian? Study business. It hurts me. It still does, that memory. And still today, after 39 years, the majority of my kids are not Italian American. And that hurts again, after so many years. One more thing. Some of Italian American kids, when I ask them, where is your family from? They say, gee, I'm not sure. I have to ask. Guys, it hurts. I did write an article a few years ago on...
I saved it.
My similar comparison was, we all have a lawn, right? And we want a beautiful lawn in front of our house. Just, how do you keep it beautiful? You take care of it. You spread the fertilizer, you water it. This is the same thing we should do with our culture. We have to take care of it, otherwise it's gone. And I must say, I still hope that there will be un risveglio. I don't want to think like in Italian, we missed the train. Abbiamo perso perché so many years we should have, as a community, we should have asked each school to offer Italian, each college to offer Italian. Not because you do something with it, because it's our heritage. Because it's through that you learn a lot about your heritage. Not because we eat capogollo, by the way, it's capogollo, okay? And we are proud. And because our family is loud, so I'm Italian. No, guys, it's much, much more. So we still can hope, yes. It's going to take a long time. But again, bussiamo alla porta delle scuole and ask for Italian, guys, because we are on the verge of really, as Frank said, going down, because Spanish is considered to be more useful, and yet we still want to say I'm proud Italian. Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla, did you want to say something?
I just had a comment more than a question. First of all, I want to thank you for everything you've done. When I moved to Chicago, you were one of the first people in Monte Clara to welcome me and bring me into the Italian American community of Chicago, and I'm forever grateful for that. 2 comments. One with Leonard Cavello, the educator. He was all about representation, like you said, and it's about when you see yourself represented in a school or in the mainstream, it gives you a sense of belonging and pride. So that first and foremost is really important. And the second thing about the trip to Italy, same thing happened to me. I went to a college that didn't even have an Italian program, for goodness sake. And I went abroad and studied in Italy, and that changed the whole trajectory of my life. And another quick comment, there is a serious scholar, she's a sociologist, she wrote a book like Matone, big book about later generation Italian Americans in New York. And one of the conclusions, which I thought was so funny, seems self-obvious, one of the keys in staying connected to your heritage across successive generations was having studied or traveled in Italy.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
I mean, she took her, a book this, and years of research and studies, and
I
that's
don't think
what
I invented this idea, I'm trying to push it.
And
Yes.
just to add on to that, so my wife and I took our daughter twice. She was 12 and 13. And we've always been proud to be Italian. My wife is part Italian, but after being there, our daughter is like, she's drunk the Kool-Aid. She's taking Italian. She can't take Italian, and she's a freshman now in high school. She can't. They don't offer it, but she's taking Italian outside of school. And the trip there at an earlier age was a big deal for her.
It's a common story, you hear it so often, and it's so important, and it can do so much, and that's why I don't understand, like, how come nobody jumps on this? Like, why are we not, as a locally, but nationally, I mean, we have everything in our community. Billionaires with B's, billionaires. And they're more interested in galas and actors and photo opportunities. I said it, and it's takedown.
I've got to go get my tuxedo.
You go wherever you want, Grandpa. Yes.
I have just 2 comments. I like with the front white, that's what also made me get more into my culture, and that when it says embrace your inner Italian. So we all have like maybe some heritage from our grandparents. That's number 1. Number 2, I love our summer camp, because working in it too, these young kids, they're, like 1st grade up to I think 5th grade. It is fabulous to see how they grow in just a few weeks. It's just a 2-week camp, how they grow.
And thank you, you volunteered. You did a wonderful job.
I enjoy it, but just seeing them learn the songs, learning, doing little crafts that teach them the heritage.
Everything they're exposed to in that capacity, it's all good, there's nothing bad. It's this other exposure on social media of comedians and idiots and just talking stupid. So, yes, sir, Mr. Piero-Saving.
So I just have a few things to say. I believe that there is an organization out there that they push their people up to become what they need to become. I believe that if we want to be in a certain level, you have to be involved with the higher position. You have to get involved in position that can give you some power. And how you do that? Look at example, IPAC, Jewish community, lobbyists. So my thinking is that Frank is a very good speaker and representative. For us to be able to have power in the Italian community and to be power as an Italian, we have to push politicians like him. Frank is a good representation of Italian society. I have strongly believed that Frank, we should pick a candidate like him and push him to go to higher position of society so they can represent to everybody Italian. Because if you are limited to this space, you're not going anywhere. The only way for us to be able to grow is to push people like him to become in a higher level and to be able to push what we believe in. That's going to be the only thing.
But just to piggyback on that, some of these issues, like the Columbus thing, well, we did our part. We can only do so much for just regular people. But, and I want Columbus returned, I think we got screwed in the whole 9 yards. But what I'm getting at is, let's focus on what we can control, what we could, like this dream. It could happen. Pushing more positive movies, studying the language, the culture, being proud. Why are we proud? I mean, this goes back to so much of the world, what we know in the world, our people gave the world. So we got to get, like I said, farther away from those things and more towards this stuff, okay? But thank you,
So
thank you.
my thinking is that, just to conclude, is for you to pick something that a position or anybody that is like, and push our people to where we believe they're gonna be. And then from that point on, to spread the Italian culture and make other people understand to another level of power.
Well, I mean, it is
I
getting
think
you.
you're perfect as a person
Well,
to be candidated in
I will say,
something.
thank you, I appreciate that, but I will say, you're right, it is getting involved, like, I'm on the school board of a public high school. Well, we have Italian, 4 years, AP, National Honor Society, trip to Italy. I better stay on this board, because I got a little bit of power, not much, but a little bit. I'm on the board, you got a little bit, so, you know, I kinda like, oh, maybe I better stay. You know, it's just a voluntary thing, it's a lot of time, it's a commitment, but it's helping for that cause that I'm there. So I'll do it. If I wasn't doing that, what am I gonna do? Sit on the couch and watch television? Yes, Teresa?
The last.
Keep it clean, Teresa, keep it clean.
I'll keep it clean. The last election, Carrie Caparelli.
Yes.
Ran for state senator.
Yes.
We put it out there, you gotta vote for him, and he was real hot on bringing Columbus back. Unfortunately, he got beat out by our so-called lieutenant governor, Juliana Stratton. So that dream is gone. I told everyone, we put it on Facebook, I sent emails, texts, Carrie Caparelli, but I think he came in second, if I'm not
Did
mistaken.
he make second? Really?
I think he did.
It's a tough fight.
Yeah.
That is a tough fight.
Yeah,
Yes.
not that easy.
Yes, Mr. Leo.
Frank, it surprised me to find out that Loyola Academy does not have any Italian as a
No.
language learning. How would you get the high schools?
Well,
pressure the high schools.
Public and Catholic private are two different situations.
Well, let's just stay with the Catholic.
So with the Catholic and the private, which I'm not on any, the board, so I don't know as much about it, but I'm gonna just throw out my logical 2 cents of this kind of commands at your private schools, so I would think people with this that are donating, any place you have to present, right, who's smart here? Funding, how are you gonna pay for it? That's great, you wanna have Italian, how are we gonna pay for it? We have to hire an instructor, we need this, we need that, we need that. This Italian language program, even if it's just for freshman and sophomore, that could be like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So, okay.
I want to remind the Italian consulate, each Italian consulate has an office dedicated to schools and colleges, especially schools. It's the education office of the consulate. And it is specifically there to promote and support Italian classes. So you can even contribute partially to a stipend for a teacher. But of course, the staff must be from the school. If the school doesn't apply, the consulate cannot do anything. So we go back to the fact that PTAs, parents, community, association, they should go and see, we want Italia. Then the money comes after. If there is no request at the base, of course, Chinese, Arabic, Japanese, you name it, go up, come si dice, in front of us.
This, what she's referring to, I know that if you, at Loyola Academy, for example, the consulate's offices, they're not gonna give money, they only give it if it's an existing program. So you would have to have it started, be in existence for, I think, a minimum of a year, and then you could apply by them to get some. But if there's enough interest and there's enough, with the petitions and all that, but then at the end of the day, it comes down to some money, because Loyola's gonna say, how are we gonna support this?
Fenwick did.
Did they start a program?
Started a program.
How did it start?
A man from Melrose Park, last name Nicodemo.
Okay.
His 3 kids went to Fenwick.
Okay.
They started a program. He kept going to school and he kept applying. We should have an Italian class here. And it's been going on now, I think, for the last 12 to 15 years.
But you know how initially they got it?
That I don't know. They actually dropped German because they were teaching German. They dropped German. They put Italian on.
So I mean, easy enough, but I'm sure there had to be something.
Unfortunately, he's
donation
dementia,
or
but the daughter
something.
works for Fenwick, and they could ask her, maybe
Yeah, I
give
mean,
a little bit of insight.
I know the mom.
Yeah.
It is possible, Leo. Anything is possible, for sure. And a school like Loyola Academy, which is a really fine institution, probably with a decent amount of Italian American kids, at least, They should have Italian language programs. They really should. So.
Again, thanks to Frank. He'll stay around for until 9 o'clock this evening.